Hey folks, Jason here with Dirt Race Life. Check it out, y'all. I've got steering, I've got brakes. Watch this episode, you'll see what it takes. First thing, I've got to mount my full containment seat. We got to figure out where all the holes and the brackets for mounting the seat itself and the seat belts, all of that is, and get the seat bolted in temporarily. Then we can figure out steering and brakes, everything. That stuff does me no good if I can't sit in a seat in order to figure out where that right spot is. Well, as you can see, it all fits. I think it's about a 1/4 inch gap on each side. Over here, it lays right back into the cradle, flat on the floor, leg height, all of that. That's what I wanted. I wanted my legs to be down. I wanted to be up more, legs down more. I feel like I'm more up on the wheel when I don't have my legs flat out in front of me. So I did that on the Crush, but I said I need to go a little further with that. And so I did on this car, create a little bit more distance between where the heel of my foot is and where, you know, the bottom of my seat is. I got it more up there past like 4 or 5 inches. That definitely is much more comfortable to me. I feel like that I'm kind of, you know, up in the car driving instead of laid back for going for a ride. I made one major mistake. I got in a hurry and I put this tube in, and I should not have put this tube in. That's out of order. That thing should have waited because it is not gonna work. It's coming right across where my elbow is. I'm gonna have my side here is gonna be bowed, and that tube right there has got to go. So I put it in too early. Seemed really great at the time. Got all excited. Wanted to go ahead and throw it in. Don't know what I was thinking, y'all. Shouldn't have put that tube in yet. I've got a piece of tunnel deck we're going to weld in on the back right here. And then we can start putting in all of our fixtures and seatbelt tabs and everything for this seat, where we can bolt this seat up. That way we can figure out where those brake pedals need to be. Let's do it. Let's see if we can weld this in place. So I cut the tube loose. I was able to save it. It wasn't that big of a deal for me to put a little notch in it, and I'll just take and re-weld it up top when I get done. Kind of trim the notch up where it fits good. But I'm gonna leave it loose right now until I get back in here, and then I'll weld it up last, like I should have the first time. But yeah, I'm gonna weld this up, and this is gonna be great. It's gonna work great. Everything will be fine. This will all be just real good and solid. Give me something to work off of. All right, that'll be enough until we pull the seat out. I got my rear seat belt mount here. This is just a plate, 2 nuts. These are 1/2 inch. All my seat belt mounts are 1/2 inch bolts going through them. And I'm just gonna, reason you see me using a straight edge like that is I am lining them up where it points up there to where it's going to wrap over. Just doing it like that. I've got a mark there to center it to the center of the seat, so I can get that just right. That right there. Work. So I'm going to put seatbelt mounts that go through these 2 pockets on each side. And what would be really easy is if I was able to take a socket and extension and ratchet and just reach in, you know, like down through here and take that bolt out and be able to change that seatbelt out. So I got me a chunk of scrap iron here. This is just some 3/8 plate. I want something that's going to stand up off that frame, and the bolt would go through in a head right in that opening right there. That way the seatbelt goes right through there, and I can get to that bolt. So I think I'm gonna take and, I'm gonna cut that off square on the bottom, kind of round that over. That'll be my point sticking up, and I'll turn the angle, drill a hole through it, put a nut on the back, and then just turn the angle so that it's right in there in some kind of way where I'd be able to get to that bolt head, take that bolt out, and the seatbelt pull through. Sounds good. Let's make it happen. That, my friend, is why you don't use your hand. because it will get you on these small parts and pieces. I need to get me, I broke my vise that goes on my drill press. I did have one. I've not had a chance to buy one, but I knew better to grab it. So the way I did this, I went ahead and I made me a little square piece of flat to weld it to. Because like with this metric frame, some of this stuff is like really thin and really soft. And you know, I got to thinking, if I just welded this flat plate straight down to this cap right here, that cap is like really thin. I mean, it's, you know, it's like maybe 120,000 wall. And then like, what's the type of quality of this steel? You know, is this something that's real ductile that like if it had more pressure on one end, it could rip it out? I don't know. You want to take chances, so I just took a piece of plate steel and welded it to the bottom real good on both sides so that I can just spread that load out and keep from having like a tear situation going on. Because I think that's how it would do it. It would like, one side gets a lot more pressure and it just rips it, you know, like at an angle. Because once it starts ripping, it's going to take it out of there. And of course, I got the angle and everything with it up like that, welded the nut on the back, and I'm going to put a bolt in it. That way I can make sure that I can get it out. Now it's on an angle and stuff because I want the belt to like have the right direction. I don't want the belt to like be pulling in the corner of where it goes through the harness. So like I am going to put it right down in there. All right, same deal over here. This joker in here, right in that corner right there. I'll finish welding those up after I pull the seat out, but next up, while the seat's in, let's do the steering column. We gotta have the steering shaft in place before we put the brakes in place. That way the two don't conflict with each other, because the steering shaft's got to be where the steering shaft's got to be. So let's do that next. I think my steering shaft is gonna be a little short. I pulled my whole steering system out of my crush, and yeah, it's gonna be a little short, so I gotta figure out how much. So, seating position's right, everything's good here. That looks about right on the tube. I just got it thrown up there. I don't have it trimmed up and ready to weld back up. I left it loose, but I'm gonna put a bend in that aluminum plate so that my arm's comfortable right here. So I may move it over another inch, but it's close to where it needs to be. But yeah, steering wheel's out too far because it's got my arms kind of extended. So I'm gonna be strapped in tight. And so my arms are out, so that's kind of gonna have, like, if I'm hitting ruts and bumps, it's gonna wanna make my arms wanna jump. So I really wanna be right here. I want my elbow to be just right there. I walk in, have my hands right here is where I wanna be. So I need to have some room back, and then I need to have some room forward, so just come straight down. So if I hold my hand right here, this is just old school method here. So that's where I want to be. Here's the steering wheel. All right, I'm gonna add 6 inches. Get this U-joint apart. I'm gonna be cutting and welding right here, so if I can take this steering U-joint apart, I won't tear it up. Y'all, I'm just gonna take and put a 6-inch extension in right here, and we're gonna call it good, put this thing in. These little jokers here are kind of hard to do, but I got it done, and she is good for another car. I went ahead and greased it while I had it apart. Not the easiest thing to do, y'all. It all adds up. Everything's so expensive. Man, you gotta cut some costs where you can, you know. I added that 6 inches on, cleaned it all up. And let's see here. Yep. Oh, that's much better. I like it. I like it, I like it, I like it. Okay. I think I'm gonna need to put another piece of tubing in. I've got, let me see here if I got a tape measure back here. Yeah. So I'm looking at about 18 inches from my steering wheel to my front hoop right there. And I've got a support, and I could slide it down the shaft and angle it up and stuff, but then I'm gonna have like quite a bit of shaft right here. And I really like my steering wheel to not do this. I like for it to be really tight, you know? No wiggle, no wobble, no like when I go to like crank on it really hard, you know, I'm like bending the shaft, or twisting it in the wheel, like, you know, I don't want any of that stuff. So I'm gonna put another tube in. But what we gotta do right now is we have got to fix this steering wheel in the perfect spot. If y'all watched me build the other car, you have seen me do this before. But the trick is getting out. But I got some zip ties. And first I'm going, well, I ain't gonna be able to talk with them in my mouth, am I? We're gonna zip tie this level. And of course I have zip ties that are too small. We're gonna cinch all this stuff down, and we're gonna lock the steering wheel in the right place. And that way I can work on the supports and where things need to be, and I don't have to worry about the shaft being in the wrong place. Because this stuff right here, folks, you gotta have it right. Okay, now, there's that. Slide you up, and then I'll just raise you up and get you right in the middle. And I do not want my knuckles sticking above any deflector I've got. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. I have raced at tracks that had rocks, and I wear the good gloves that have got the heavy plastic guards over the fingers, and I have still had fingers get black and blue and feel like I about broke one catching a rock in them. And I mean, buddy, you got to really have your safety equipment figured out. Because some of these tracks has got some rocks. I caught one time in my shoulder right here, and I was black and blue for 2 weeks. From it just come right through and caught me on that shoulder. Man, it tore me up. So, yeah, there's that. Okay, so I don't want to get too close down in my belly. I ain't planning on gaining weight, but I don't want to eat Thanksgiving dinner and then all of a sudden can't work in the car. So we're going to put you right there. And we're going to zip tie the ever-loving snot out of it where it will not move. Hold my feet up there. And I'm going to pull you down. Is that right? Am I right in the middle? I am perfectly in line. I am pointing, that shaft is straight at that steering box. I got the seat. I got everything figured out. It really worked out well on this car. Everything on this car has been working out really well. I take that as a good sign. A really good sign. I'm really happy with how this is going. Trick is me getting my big tail out from behind this steering wheel. That's the reason it's removable. Oh yeah, there we go. I got it now. Now, we can start welding up some supports on this sucker. So I've got my lower support here that we took off the crush that was on the shaft. It's going to work perfect. I'm going to run it perpendicular to the shaft, not straight up and down. I don't want that big angle in that heim, because as it rolls through, that angle is rolling the dirt into and out of it. So maintenance-wise and re-cleaning and greasing this, you're going to need to do it a lot more often or get a lot more wear on it with it running like this versus running like this, where the joint has not got a big articulation in it. So something I realized just looking at this stuff, it dawned on me like, hey, I should not do that. So I'm just going to cut this off with a cutoff wheel. This doesn't have to be perfect. Just going to kind of take a guess, cut it off, weld it up, let her rip. All right, I got my tube here ready to go. Got her trimmed till she. There we go. Perfect. And let's see, that's a little far. See if I can get this Duma Fleechy up here. Hold on. at. See if I can't get this thing bolted up here. Maybe right there. I think this is the fastest way to do this and get it right. It's just like this. I cannot imagine a faster way. You know, if you're building, if you've already got a cage built, you know, and you know, you're trying to work out the steering and like it's a secondhand car, I can see where it gets really, really difficult. But like, if you're building new, and you can go about it like this, where you set the steering where you want it, and then you build everything else to make that work. The same way on the brakes. Get the steering shaft where we want it, and then we'll turn around and get the brakes in here. That's the next thing coming. Right there, that's perfect. Yeah, I can't see how that there's a better way. I mean, maybe there is. I mean, hit me in the comments, y'all. But if y'all think this is probably the fastest way, well, thumbs up. We'll make it happen. Okay. Yep. Oh, yeah. That is, oh man, I'm feeling it. Shoot, yeah. Oh, it is a little bit to the right, which I just unclamp. Of course, all I do is just loosen the clamps up, and then I can just take and I can shift this side steering wheel, you know, left or right. I won't worry about it right now because I'm gonna unbolt this while I paint it and stuff anyway, so that's irrelevant. But yeah. Shoot, yeah, this is, put my hand, I'm planning to have a deflector, you know, like the deck's gonna come right in here, and then I'm gonna have a deflector, so that's okay, that'll be under the deflector. And then I wanna make sure that my knuckles right here, which my line of sight's way up here, you know, like my line of sight. And I wanna make sure that the deflector keeps my knuckles, you know, so that I don't get rocks in my knuckles, and that I don't get rocks like below, you know, my helmet, as far as like where my chin is. I don't want rocks to be able to get in here and like pop me on my neck or anything like that. And so my line of sight's right here. My chin will be like right in here as far as like the bottom of the visor. So that's great. You gotta think about all that stuff, because otherwise you get a setup that'll just tear you up if you ever run on a track with any rocks or anything, or even just mud. I've raced before and like just be having dirt clods that were just piling in right here, you know, underneath my helmet, where, you know, like you need to run a helmet sock and stuff just because of that. And which a helmet sock is not a bad idea, but I don't run one. I'm a little bit claustrophobic, so I struggle with that kind of stuff. All right, well, anyway, we got all that done. We got our shaft in place. Let's put some brakes on this thing. I pulled the clutch pedal and the brake setup out of the crush, but I did not cut the mounting pad and stuff out, because that's unique to the car, and like that's a pain. Like this part of it is a hard part to do. So if I ever was going to repurpose that old chassis, I would like hate myself for having cut that stuff out of the car. I didn't cut stuff like that out of it. So I dug around, and y'all know me, I'll repurpose everything I can repurpose. It had some of this plate steel Ryan had got for me. I think this piece, I think it's 5/16. It will be fine, plenty thick. And I'm looking at right here, and I'm like, you know what? I think that'll work good. And because I want to basically cut out a pad where I can mount these holes, you know, on it, and then put a little bit of a gap. I don't want these right against each other, because I don't want these two pedals to be like that. I want them to be about like that right there. Maybe like 6 inches apart, center to center, something like that. So if this is over here and this is over here, maybe I'll leave a little piece of plate out between the two, that maybe I can have a leg coming down somehow or a leg coming up there, because if I just have it tied on one end, if I jam on that brake really hard or something, that plate's gonna flex. Well, when that plate flexes, that's gonna feel like a spongy pedal. It might not technically be a spongy caliper or a spongy line or air in the line, but it will still make the car act the same way. I mean, if it springs on me right there, it's gonna act just like a spongy pedal for any other reason. It will still cause a problem with the car. So no flexing of that plate allowed. So maybe a mount on the front, a mount on the back. So let's get the main cut made here. Get this out of the way. Get this out of the way. Just gonna square it up and start cutting it out. I got it decently cleaned up. Good enough to work for us. I'm just gonna figure out these holes right here. I'm gonna put that right there and right there. I dug all over my shop and did not have a carpenter's pencil. Got a big old thick piece of lead you can rub over. It works really good. All right, that's good enough. I can see them. And I want that backed all the way up to that back edge. That way I can get to the bolts to unbolt it, the cap's off. None of that's, I don't want the plate right up against that stuff. So, what do I need? I need center punch. You get out of the way. Done with you for a minute. Put you right here. See if I can keep my hand on it and not let it move while I do this. All right, drill that out right quick. Just gonna bolt this with 2 bolts temporarily. So I can kind of have it in place and figure out if this other one needs to be in the same position as this one, or back, or forward, or what. It looks like I need to be all the way back to that edge, and then I do need that spacer in there, and that would work. And spacing wise, that looks about right to have it all the way over there like that. So, okay, let's do that. There's that one down there. Okay, got it. Then we're gonna put y'all right there. Yep, little bit different. Little bit different. So you can see I got it all bolted together. I ended up, I did put that spacer there, see, to get that pedal down like it needed to be. I know this seems kind of rough, but I promise you I can get there pretty quick like this. If I can just hold it. This is an area where you really need a buddy. And I know I need this plate to lean back a little. It's going to be right in there. So I'm going to start out by just sticking that. I don't know, this thing's so heavy it may not want to stay. But we're going to try. We're going to try to get it to stay. All right. Let's see. I may have to put another support on it. Oh, it's going to sit there. It's barely going to sit there. I'm just trying to kind of get it started where I can get in there and figure out how close I am. I don't have my heel pieces in, so I don't have to switch out to my racing shoes, so I can do it with tennis shoes. Because I'm probably going to put some heel stirrups in. Okay, I got the height right. It's too far over this way. Matter of fact, it could go up a little bit. It's on the, no, I could go up a little. I may be able to just kind of bend it over, flatten it out. That'll get me off the steering arm. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I don't even know if I'm turned right. Lord, I may not even be turned correctly. Oh, I'm not. Oh. I don't want to be turned, I don't want the pedals turned out toward this outside. Come on. Let's check it right there. That works. Lay you down right there. I'm up to 0. I hate marking up my pretty local tubing, but I think this is the way to do it. I intentionally put some angle back in it because my feet are going to be, I'm not down flat pushing forward anymore. I'm at an angle kind of pushing in this direction. So I've got 10 degrees pitch going in this. I didn't want too much because my pickup and my brakes is, you know, on this end, you know, so it's not even relevant on the clutch, but on the master cylinders, you know, your pickup's right up here on the front. So, didn't want too much, but yeah, I put 10 degrees angle in it just so that my pedals are kind of rolling forward, you know, sweeping down and forward a little bit better. Okay. Woo, that's the hard part right there. Now, I'm gonna cut a tube to go right here, and then I'm gonna turn around. I was gonna put one off this tab down, but look at how this lines up with this main tube right through here. I may just take and put a tube right there. Maybe, may not have to be 1.5 inches, maybe just a 1-inch tube, and just run that joker just straight up and down opposite. I want them to be at 2 different angles, 2 different sides, you know, so that it stops the flex. And of course, if it, you know, when I jam on the brakes and stuff and test it, if it does flex or whatever, I can easily run a 3rd leg over here. But all of these legs that I run, now I've got to make sure that they're not conflicting with my firewall and my enclosure and get in the way of me being able to remove a master cylinder or anything like that. So I'm not wanting to add more than it takes for this thing to just have no spongy feel to it at all. Got us a tube here, ready to go. Right there. Give them a little short tube in here. There we go. All right, let's check out our finished product. See how we did. I dread this part more than a lot of stuff, y'all. It's a pain in the butt. Okay, the wall's right here, my foot's right here. Oh yeah, that is perfect. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, yep. That thing's, yeah, that thing's solid. All right, well, what do you think? Got her knocked out, didn't we? Moving fast, y'all. Now that we got this done, let's see, what's next? All right, so what's next on the build? Next episode, let's do all the tin work and everything. That'll be the next episode, and then that's gonna put us, I think, done in the interior where that we can put all of these sidebars and stuff in the follow-up episode after that. And I got a couple more tubes over here as well that have to go in. As you can tell, we're moving fast. I've got a couple of weeks left, and I really need to have this car together and on the ground getting ready to go racing, because like we're at like February 15th, and we've got races like at the end of March. So I'm like, that timeline is just shrinking on me just really, really quick. Hope you enjoyed this. If you're not subscribed, you know, we're showing everything all the way through on this build. So you definitely want to be subscribed, have your notifications turned on, and I will see you next time.